Hey everybody, welcome to the end of the year Homestead Update. Last one of 2024. You'll notice the background's a little bit different. You'll notice I'm here by myself. Here's the reason why. Angela is getting headaches and stuff, repercussions of the wreck, and if she's staring at the computer screen too long, different screens, the big TV in the living room causes her problems, the little screens cause her problems. So she's taking a break from being on the live this week, and hopefully she gets better. We took her to the doctors, and they're making a recovery plan for her. So sorry guys, you got just me tonight, but we'll have fun. This is going to be fun. It's the end of the year, and let's make this one rock. Okay. First off, before we get started, let's see who's in the chat. Starla was first, and then Skane's Girl, hey, and then Rosie's in the house. Tambra's here. HG, hey, HG, thank you for commenting on the radio shortcuts and terminology about the Q codes. I had completely forgotten where they came from. Somebody told me one time that when we don't remember things like this, it's because we really don't care that much about them. And quite honestly, knowing where the Q codes come from, not the top of my list, but thank you very much for popping in. This is one of the reasons why I love this community, because you guys know so much, and I can always get a good answer from people. Then Terminator's here. I'm surprised you're online tonight, Terminator. You getting hit by any of that snow that's supposed to be hitting the East Coast? Apparently they're going to get it hard. And then Len's in the house. How you doing, Len? He's been putting up some new videos. Go check out Blue Wolf, his channel. Hey, Zach, Grumpy, how's it doing? Unique Prepping, Tiger, Jane, Can Squash. Man, you guys are coming in hard. Randy's here. Listen, guys, seriously, I appreciate you guys showing up tonight. I know it's a special night for a lot of people. If you're like me, I'm at the age where I don't need to stay up all night long celebrating the new year. Most of the time I'm just happy the old one's over. Be honest with you. Before we get started, if you stumble across this channel and you're not a subscriber, watch it. If you enjoy this type of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everybody that's in chat, hit that thumbs up so that YouTube knows you like this kind of content, and you spread the message. The more people we get tuned into our channel, the more people we can tell about the three pillars of homesteading and getting away from the beast, right? All right. First things first. Homestead update. 2024 is almost over, and all I can say is thank God. 2024, not the roughest year we've had since we've been here, but it was pretty darn rough on me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Keeping a positive outlook a lot of the time was extremely hard. That doesn't mean we didn't get a lot done here. It doesn't mean that we're not heading in the right direction. It just means that there were a lot of challenges to overcome this year. And for the most part, we did it. Watching the intro, that little intro video, watching that, man, I'll tell you what, the homestead, after 3 years, because as of October 1st, we were here for 3 years. The way it looks now compared to the way it looked when we moved on is just night and day. Right now, it doesn't look very pretty. I'm not going to lie to you. We've been getting a lot of rain, a lot of cold weather, and it gets a lot of mud around here. So things get muddy. Floor's been muddy. That's one of the things Angela's been fighting for about the last 3 weeks, was the mud. It's getting better. That's all I can say. I told you guys earlier that I took over 10 tons of metal off the property since May of 2023, and I've got a whole bunch more. So 2025, hopefully I'll get all that stuff off the property. Oh, you know what? I didn't ask everybody if they had a good Christmas. This is a first homestead update since Christmas. I hope you guys had a good Christmas. We had a great Christmas. Our Christmas wasn't like we had back in the old days, but it was awesome. Put a Christmas tree up for the first time in 3 years since we moved. My son and his family came up, so we got to see the grandkids, and they had a blast. They got some really fun toys that they enjoyed, and I got to teach them how to drive the skid loader, and they loved it. The youngin, the little one, got off the skid loader and ran straight over to the tractor and wanted to climb up on it and ride the tractor. And he was crying. I had to explain to him. I said, "It's not running right now, buddy. The battery's dead, and I got to do some work on it. But we'll get it up and going. So this spring when he gets here, we'll jump on it and we'll go mow the property and move stuff around." But they had a blast, and it was nice. Unfortunately, they couldn't stay more than just Christmas Day. The daughter-in-law's company was on PTO blackout because she does some HR work. So they had, the enrollment for insurance and end of the year stuff and all that. So they couldn't stay, but it was awesome seeing them. So hope you guys had a great Christmas too. Zach put up here. Let me go back, scroll back up a little bit. Zach says, in the new year, I'm thinking about doing more community surrounding lives, about doing planting, canning, food preserving. Yeah, Zach, that's the way to do it, man. Those are the things that are important now. 2025 is not a year to take your foot off the gas pedal. It's not. We need to keep going strong. In 2024 around here, as a community, we kind of ramped it up. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you guys haven't seen it, the Northeast Kansas Open Government Project YouTube channel, they film county commissioner meetings and county meetings so that everybody can see it. And it's extremely open. We're taking that flashlight and shining it in the dark corners of local politics, and we're making a difference. We actually in 2024 we actually got them to change some of the proposed policies that the zoning commission was going to make. So it does work, guys. It takes some effort, and we're fortunate. We've got some people in the community that not only have the time, but they've got the willpower to go out and engage in these type of things and get the rest of us motivated. Something else that we did in 2024 was there were quite a few community work days, where we brought everybody together and worked on different properties. I missed a lot of them. I'm not going to lie to you. I missed a lot of them because they do a lot of them on the weekdays, and I've got a 9 to 5, so I couldn't make them. But the ones that were on the weekends, I was able to make. In fact, just this last weekend, if you go over to the American Roots channel, they just posted a video of the workday we had yesterday. One of our community members had some health issues, was in the hospital, and we wanted to get they're building their house, and we wanted to get it roughed in and ready to go before the cold weather set in here in the coming January. Randy says he's going to hammer down and make lots of changes here. A lot of land to clear and gardens to go in. Maybe even get a large greenhouse. There you go, Randy. There you go. Even if you don't hit all those goals, if you hit even one of them, it's a win. Oh, Skane says Tag posted one about the thing yesterday. So go over to Left Unfree or American Roots, and you can see what we were doing yesterday. Yeah, Fee was running the camera. In fact, I don't know if they kept me in there. She got me leaning on a shovel. We were digging a trench for electrical, and I was leaning on a shovel. She came up and asked me questions. So I talked to her a little bit about it. Hey, Gregory. I forgot it was Tuesday. We had 17 here for Christmas this Sunday. Wow, that's awesome. I love it. I remember as a kid, we'd go over to my grandmother's house. My grandmother and my aunt and uncle and their family, like all my cousins, lived in this little tiny duplex, and we would stuff about 40 people in that little building, and it was so crowded, and it was so awesome. My last aunt passed away recently, and kind of made me nostalgic for that, and knowing that those days are over. But we go on and we move on, and we make our own Christmas traditions. Unfortunately, this move this move destroyed our Christmas traditions, and we're having to rebuild them. And quite frankly, the past, 20, 21 or 22, 23, did not feel like putting anything up. Seriously, just did not feel like it. But this year, since the grandkids were coming up, pulled out the Christmas trees, did a little bit of decoration on it. Didn't do normally. Used to be when the kids were small. We lived in this front black California split that had these great big huge vaulted ceilings, and we had a Christmas tree that was about 15 feet tall, and Angela and the kids used to decorate that thing to the nines, and it was gorgeous. And people could see it from the living room. They could see in the front windows, see it sitting in the corner. It was just beautiful. And I put lights up and all that. Don't really have that kind of energy anymore. Zach says he woke up to a white Christmas. Haven't had one in a few years. Well, you know what? Isn't that global warming, Zach? Doesn't global warming cause more snow? At least that's what they tell us. That's what they tell us. All right. All those people that are now geopolitical experts, that used to be medical experts, that used to be climate experts. That's what they tell us. Global climate change and global warming causes snow. Skanes says she's drinking some skinny margaritas. Well, I'm not going to lie. It is New Year's Eve. I am having a mixed drink and enjoying it. I'm not going to overindulge, but it's nice. It's nice to have one. Randy says a cold beer for him. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm too old to go out and stay up all night and wait for the new year to roll in and drink like I used to. It takes too long to recover, and I just don't enjoy it that much anymore. I don't have to drink as much as I used to. And in case anybody didn't know, I am by definition a functioning alcoholic. I drink. I overindulge from time to time, but I can go out and I can function on a daily basis most of the time. I'm not drinking constantly. Let me put it that way. So having one or two of these is actually a really big thing for me. Gregory says they got 1.5 inches of snow last night. Better than the dust blowing. Yeah, I don't know. We're supposed to get 2 inches down here on Sunday, so we'll see how that goes. I know that the temperature started dropping today. It was in the 50s yesterday, and it was rainy. And today it started out in the low 40s, and when I went to put the animals away, it was hovering right around 33, 35. So we're gonna get hit with the cold. From the looks of it, though, we're not gonna get hit with the worst of this polar vortex that they're talking about. We're gonna be right on the edge of it. I guess the people down south, you guys that are living down to the south and the east of us, man, be ready. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but just be ready, because you guys could get some temperatures that you're not used to. In fact, the one channel I was watching, they were talking about it, and they were even saying there might be a dusting of snow in northern Florida. So you guys just be ready. And I guess there's been power outages too. I don't know. I didn't really follow up on that, but somebody was saying that there were some power outages too. So just be careful, guys. Remember, this is why we prepare, because these things happen. And as long as we're prepared, emergencies aren't emergencies. They're just inconveniences, right? Oh, yeah. Skanes is saying that she doesn't normally drink unless it's with Yoda. Yeah. And what do they call you, Pinocchio? Instead of Pinocchio, you're Pinocchio. But the homestead, we've had we butchered some animals this fall, and I did 3 sheep, and we had 5 babies born. We had two baby goats. I'm sorry, we had 6. We had 3 baby goats and 3 lambs born, and so I got rid of 3 and picked up an additional 3. Got a couple more of the adults that are going to go in the freezer here. I want to wait until it turns colder so I can hang them in the tree and let them age outside instead of having to cut them up and put them a cooler. That's the way we usually do our deer. Well, back in the day. And once again, 3 years, I have not shot a deer. It's driving me nuts. I didn't even get, did not even get out to hunt this rifle season. We've got a 5-day season starting tomorrow, the 1st through the 5th, for does, antlerless deers. So I talked to the neighbor Chris. You guys have seen him. So he said I can come over on their property. He said he's had a lot of traffic. So hopefully sometime in the next 4 or 5 days, I'm able to shoot a deer for the first time in 5 years. Put some meat in the freezer with him. And I don't know about everybody here, but I love venison. Man, venison is a great cut of meat. I mean, it's all good. We were going out to California to see her family, and Kansas City, home of great steaks. Hey, Dorothy, I didn't say hi to Rabbit either. Rabbit popped in, and I didn't even say hi. I apologize. And then Dorothy's here. So Kansas City, great steaks. We were going to take steaks, and Angela offered to bring some deer, and they were like, "Oh no, deer, gross." Blah, blah. Typical non-hunter response. So Angela packed some steaks, some beef steaks, and some deer steaks, and we went. And she cooked all that meat, and the people that complained the loudest about venison were the ones that got the venison steak. Needless to say, they did not know the difference. They thought it was awesome, and then she dropped the bomb on them, and they couldn't believe how good venison was. Now, whether they've had any since then, I don't know. I don't really care either. But it was funny watching them do it. Yeah, Randy says he's thinking about building a walk-in cooler to store stuff and hang the meat in. That's a goal around here. I personally, what I would like to do is I would like to buy one of the small the small 8x10. Have you ever seen those? The military use them. You can get them at DRMO sales at nearby military bases, but they're small. They're small enough that they fit on the back of a 5-ton. But you get one of those, insulate the inside, and then there's a company that sells reclaimed cooler walls, and you get the door, and you put, because the door is the most important part. You can insulate anything to make it stay cool, but that door where you're coming in and out with the seal and everything, you got to make sure that that's really good. And so they sell these things, but you just put one of those inside the 2 closing doors, and then there's a company that makes a thing called a CoolBot, which is a little thing that goes on a regular household window air conditioner, and it deregulates the temperature, and it makes it so it gets down way below freezing. I would love to build something like that, and it wouldn't be too terribly expensive or hard to do as long as you had the money. Did I see Brian pop in? Is that what everybody's saying hi to Brian? Oh, there he is. Brian Griffin, how you doing, brother? But yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. See, HG uses a CoolBot to turn a chest freezer into a refrigerator. Let's see here. Neighbor has a fat hog that needs to go to locker camp. Might go by and buy it and have some good pork. There you go. That's one of the things we didn't do this year that I said we were going to do. We never did bring the pigs on, and in retrospect, I'm glad we didn't, because we weren't ready for them. But man, I would love to have some good pork. That last pig that we raised there at the Pleasant Hill house he was a young one, but man, he was good. He was so good. Rabbit says if you go to CoolBot's website, they tell you how to make the CoolBot. How to make a CoolBot. I did not know that. You know what though? Sometimes it's just way easier to have somebody else build it for you. Not gonna lie. If you got the money, to have somebody else do it for you. You know, the failures this year. Let's talk about what did not go the way we wanted it to. Did not did not get the floor in the back of the house leveled so we could get the bedroom fixed like we wanted to. That's on the project list to do. That's the next major project, barring any unfortunate accidents. Didn't get the pigs in. Garden did not do as well as we wanted to. And we've been talking about it, and we're going to shuffle the property around and move the gardens to a different spot. And hopefully it works better. And it'll allow us to reclaim some property or some space up here by the house too. So we'll see. Starla, she's doing okay. Like I said, she got banged around in the wreck, and she had her follow-up appointments. They're doing some MRIs on Sunday for her. She's getting headaches and stuff from watching TVs and computer screens, but she's doing okay. We'll get her sorted out. All right. Let's see here. What's HG got going on? Someone on GRMS today complained about the cost to have a deer turned into jerky, all professionally packaged, etc., but doesn't know what it takes to make jerky. Well, you need to tell that person, learn how it's made. And you don't have to pay professional prices. It's not that hard, and you pay for the proper equipment. An Excalibur, that's what I use anymore. I don't use the Nesco dehydrators anymore. I use the Excalibur, which is much better. I think an Excalibur only costs about $150, $175 now, and it's super easy to do. And if anybody in the chat, I have a feeling almost everybody in the chat either knows how or has made jerky for themselves. But if anybody in there doesn't know how to do it, it's dead simple. Northern Girl Hobbies, how you doing? Hope you had a good Christmas, and welcome to the Homestead Update. Yeah, Randy, I would highly recommend them. I'm a big fan of them. You can get a lot more in them, and it's got better controls on it. Yeah, that's what we have. We've got the 9 tray. We've got a couple of Nescos too, but I don't use them anymore. And to be quite honest with you, we don't use the Excalibur as much as we used to. Used to run it all the time and make jerky constantly. Starla, I'll tell you what, you remind me later on in the live, and we will talk about our views for 2025. Okay, and I have not gotten to that point yet, but you be sure to remind me here in about 10-15 minutes. Okay. What else is going on? And setbacks, vehicle setbacks. Blew the engine on the Jeep. It's still sitting out here. It's going to cost anywhere from $3 to $5 grand to get it fixed. The engine on the lawnmower died earlier this year, the zero turn. In fact, it's sitting up at Darren's house, Hack's house right now, him getting ready to rebuild it, but it's going to cost a couple of grand to get it fixed. And it's worth it. It's worth it. I don't know if you guys heard, I made a comment with the truck. Of course, we had the accident with the truck, and we did get a settlement offer. I'm trying to negotiate for a little bit more money. They offered a little bit over what the bank would give us for the same type of vehicle. But so we've got all these problems. I got to do a video for you guys. You got to see this thing. Neighbor Chris had this 1980 Toyota pickup truck he uses for his fencing business, and it's got a homemade flatbed on it. I call it the Hellbilly Hot Rod, but he loaned it to me so I go get feed and stuff. It's just one of those little tiny the precursor to the. I think they used to call them the Forerunners, but before they did the Forerunner like SUV type of vehicle, I think they called them the Forerunners. This thing is a beast. I love it. It reminds me. It's one of those things. I'm exhilarated and terrified for my life at the same time when I'm driving this thing. It reminds me of driving my Jeeps. It's a manual transmission. I have not driven a manual transmission since I got out of the Marine Corps. Actually, yeah, before I got out of the Marine Corps, probably 1993 is the last time I drove a stick shift. You know, and I love it. I forgot how much fun driving a stick shift is. Uh, are they going to pay for the truck and trailer? They're paying for the truck. They're not paying for the trailer. State Farm, and had I known this when we got the insurance, I would have bought the rider. Every other car insurance that we've ever had, as long as the trailer was connected to the truck when the accident happened, the trailer was covered. State Farm does not do that. So if any of you have State Farm and you've got trailers, make sure that you talk to your agent and see about getting a rider, or else you're going to have to pay for the trailer out of pocket. Fortunately for us, we did not pay that much for the trailer, and we definitely got our money's worth out of it. And I told this story a couple of weeks ago, but Hax and I sat down and figured out how much it was going to cost to repair the trailer, and it was about 3 times as much of the cost of how do I put it? I've got this thing. If it costs more than half a new purchase, I just purchased new, and it was 3 times that much. It was all, and so we're going to end up buying a trailer, which is okay because I want to get a dual axle with brakes on it. Quite frankly, had we had that during the accident, chances are the accident probably would not have happened. So, you know, I'm gonna be able to buy a better one at a decent price. I found a couple that were exactly what I wanted. We'd have to travel, but that's okay. Yeah, no, State Farm does not do that. Be sure to ask your insurance agents about that, because, and I'm not dogging on the insurance agent because I don't think he knew from talking with him. State Farm doesn't do that. You know, Tamber, I thought about it, and goosenecks are a dime a dozen now. A lot of people don't like them. I've never driven one, and I understand they're easier to do, but I may just stick with what I know. We'll see. That's down the road. We'll get one before the next festival season starts. But we'll figure it out. Speaking of festivals, we did 12 events this year. We did 7 here, basically locally. We did the stuff over on the reservation, and then we did 2 Midwest Preparedness Festivals, and then we did Kentucky Sustainable Self-Reliance Festival, and then we did the SOE party. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did not want to go to that one. I was talked into it because actually, let me rephrase that. Nobody talked me into it. I made the decision on my own. But I thought it was a good business opportunity. Turns out so far, yeah, it was kind of a bust. And then we lost the truck and everything in the process. You know, this is one of those cases. I'm going to chalk it up. You should just listen to your gut sometimes, and just do what your gut says instead of listening to everybody else. You know, but it is what it is. We deal with what happens to us. We are not. How's it go, guys? We're not defined by what happens to us. We are defined by how we deal with it. And I got to be quite honest, man. Sometimes I have not, over the last 3 years, I have not dealt with it very well. That's one of the things I'm going to work on going forward. You know, well, I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Let's go on with the Homestead Update. The Homestead Update. You know, behind the power curve on a little bit. Don't have enough firewood cut. We're gonna wait till sometime mid to late. We've got enough to get us through the latter part of January. We're gonna call a work day. I got a bunch of standing deadwood that can come down. I got some deadwood that fell over that can be done very easily. So we're gonna do a work day, and 6 or 7 hours, 7-8 people will be able to knock that out and get it done very easily, and have enough. We'll have more than enough to get us through the winter. and into next fall. God giveth and God taketh away. You're moving on for some odd reason. Here's the deal. And since we've been here, I told you guys last live. It scares me. It scares me because everything that happens to us for a reason. I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't believe in dumb fate. All right, we're not. Things don't happen to us just for random reasons. All right, and since we've moved here, we've been tested, and thrown into the fire, and the way you hone steel is you heat it up and you hammer it, and we have been hammered. We are being sharpened. We are being strengthened for some reason. What it is, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, we're tempered enough so when whatever it is comes along, we're good to go. And I hope everybody in the chat, as you're listening to this, if you're going through stuff like this, I hope you're taking the same outlook, the same approach to this. It's very easy. It's very easy to get down. It's very easy to let things happen that get you down. I'm not gonna lie. We lost Manny this year. I had to put Manny down myself, and that was hard. That was extremely hard. We lost Baby. Anybody that doesn't know, Baby, anytime you see our goat head, our goat head logo, that's Baby. That is a cartoon characterization of Baby. He was the original buck, and losing. I'm not gonna lie, losing him was extremely hard. Just because we've got three of our original sheep left, but everybody else was born after our very first batch of animals, and those last three animals are getting old, and we're going to lose them. We've lost all the original chickens. I take it back. We haven't lost everybody. Got to see Roger. Everybody remember Roger, the old gimpy bastard. In fact, if you look right here over my shoulder, you see his patch right there. Got to see him this weekend. We're probably going to have to find him a new home because the people that are taking care of him now got new roosters, and the toms are picking on him now. He's old. He's about 7-8 years old, and he's got that bum foot. But man, she's been feeding him. Lou has been feeding him very well. He is a big fat guy now. Still happy though. He was kind of he wasn't too keen on me getting near him, but he was good. So we're trying to figure out a new home for him so that he can go someplace where there's no toms and everything's good. Hey, son of hacks. When asking God for strength, he forges us with difficulties for us to grow stronger. Wisdom, he gives us problems to solve. Absolutely. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I need you guys, if you do prayers, say a prayer for hacks. He had something done yesterday, and we need prayers out for him so that he can recover and get back to his old self. But from my understanding, he's a champ and he's handling it perfectly. Let's see. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Since we're talking about God and religious aspects, started going to church. Been to this church 4 times in the last 5 weeks. I really like it. I forgot how much I miss going to church. I know it's not for everybody. We were in a very good church community. It was in the Strasburg Baptist Church, Strasburg, Missouri. Independent Baptist Church. Strasburg, Missouri has 115 people in it. And on Sundays, we would get over 400 people in the church. And it was going gangbusters. And one thing I figured out through this, whenever a church body is doing well, it will come under attack. And this church body came under attack. The church split. There was a lot of dissension in the church. I went through a crisis of faith, and we ended up leaving the church along with a lot of other people. They fired the pastor, and it really soured us on church. But we spent about 2 years trying to find a new church and never could find one that fit the bill. You know, the modern church is, you get rock shows, or you get the prosperity gospel, or you get the social gospel, where Christ is a sandaled hippie that his only message he preaches is understanding and love. I'm not a big fan of the social gospel. Well, this new church, from what I can tell, is the pastor has a very firm grasp on theology, and he does a good job, and his sermons are very pertinent. HG says, part of me would like to start going in. Part of me, of course, doesn't want to, but the nearest Orthodox church is like an hour and a half away one way. It's where I used to go. And that's, so I've had this discussion with people. Sometimes the logistics of finding a church body just don't work, especially if you live out in the country. We were extremely lucky with the last church that it was like a 15-minute drive from our house. We knew people that were driving an hour and a half, 2 hours to go to church, and I always felt kind of guilty that I was like, I can't justify doing that. That's a long way to go. I'm a big proponent now. Somebody posted something. Skeins, bloom where you are. Absolutely. I've become a huge proponent of house churches. If you know anybody that is like-minded, start a house church. Meet on Sunday. It doesn't have to be on Sunday. It can be on Saturday. It can be on whenever. But just the whole idea is to have a communion there. All right. So that would be my call to action for anybody that is a believer that doesn't have a church. Either go out and find one, or do something on your own. All right. That's one of the things that the state of the church in America is in. It's in a state of apostasy. In fact, I was just reading an article today. The Presbyterian Church in Maryland, actually, it was more than just Presbyterian, because there was a rabbi and a Baptist preacher involved in this. They were out in front of a abortion clinic, and they were blessing it. They weren't praying over it in order to save lives. They were praying over it to protect it. If I say what I want to say on that matter, I will probably get banned off of YouTube. Suffice to say, I don't think those guys are preaching the gospel. At least not the gospel as it's supposed to be preached. And I'm going to do a video. I'm actually going to do a video. We had a discussion in our men's Bible group the other day about being judgmental, and I'm actually going to do a video on that, because the idea of being judgmental is stigmatized and demonized, and I think that's wrong. And I want to share my thoughts on this. So that's something to look forward to in the next week or two. I'm going to do a video on that. But here's the deal. I don't have to stand in front of God and defend those people. Those God is going to judge those people the way he judges them. And, yeah, there is. Well, actually, discernment is part of being judgmental. If they're part of having judgment. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'll explain. I did a deep dive on this from a not only a Christian viewpoint, but a secular viewpoint. It was actually a really interesting study that I did. She says a couple of people have invited me to go to their church. They're building. I told them stop by in a pickup truck with gardening tools, and it might go with you. Yeah, You know what? You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at what kind of fellowship you can get over hard work. All right. Oh, let's see what else. What else we got going on? What else we got going on here? Animals. The dogs are dumb. They're just dumb as can be. Fancy. I'm slowly trying to turn her into an indoor outdoor dog. She's big. She's still a puppy, and I have to keep her on the leash when she's in the house because she goes bonkers. So we're working on it. Lynn says, as a Catholic, I find current Pope a heretic. He is preaching environmental and the leftist position. Yeah. Yeah, the new Pope, there's another one. There's another thing that I probably ought to keep my mouth shut on. Girls are doing, all the animals are doing good. We did, you know what? We had 4 roosters. We had the 2 main ones, and then we had one that was younger that I didn't realize was a rooster until it grew up, and then another one that escaped the culling of all the roosters back when we butchered in, when was that? September, October? But the one that we didn't realize was a rooster until it was too late, he died yesterday, and it was really weird. I don't know. He was fine one day, and the next day he just like, so that, and then we lost one of the little white ones. I don't even know what breed it is, but we lost another one of the little white ones. I found a pile of feathers out on the side of the house where something got it. They run around the side of the house. There's the evergreen trees out there, and they wait and they jump on them as they go by those evergreen trees. So I think this spring, once it warms up, I think I'm going to trim back those evergreens and trim them so there's 5-6 feet of space underneath the branches, so that things can't hide in there. Skane says she still has 15 tickets 15 chickens to get from Tambra. Randy's granddaughter's running around giving everything a bit of her mind. You know, I had to laugh when the grandkids were here. I do not understand a single word the young one says. He runs around like a little drunken Dutchman, just stumbling all over the place, and you can't understand a word he says. Zach says they lost 2 hens in 1 week, and then there was a rooster that had to go to a new home, as we can't have them here. Well, you probably should have sent him to freezer camp. Oh, there you go. Rabbit's doing some work. He turned 5 pounds of butter into ghee. I found all the ghee that Angela put up. You know, if anybody doesn't know, ghee is just rendered butter, and it takes out all the lactose, all the what is it? The proteins. Takes all the proteins out, and it makes it shelf stable. Sons of Axe, let me know when you need help pruning and are ready for your work day. My saw is ready to go. Absolutely, will do. The tree pruning, I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to wait until late January, early February, just to make sure that all the trees are in hibernation for good. Yeah, the milk solids, the proteins. Let's see here. Let's see. Northern Girl Hobbies. She had a gorgeous rooster. Maybe we'll get him back in the fall when we're set up on the other property. Yeah. Skin says she's think about turning this last bit of butter into ghee. Stuff 25 jars of butter. Yeah. You know what? You're gonna get longer shelf life out of it if you do that. Okay. I think that's about it. Unless anybody got any questions about the homestead or just life over the last year in general. And I kind of covered where we're going forward, you know. It is Tuesday the 31st, 5 or 6 days. Got some things accomplished today. Ghee is fantastic, absolutely. Man, you guys, 40 pounds of butter in the freezer, man. I'd rather fill my freezer full of meat. Freeze dry repairs. There's a sore subject. Okay, let me start by saying this. For the longest time, I was a very ardent supporter of Harvest Right, and I'm still a supporter, not so much as I used to be. So their customer service this last round of problems, and it was really weird. We had so many problems at the same time. It's just it was weird the way it happened. Um, I I started thinking about it dealing with them, and I made the comment that I thought that their call centers were overseas now. I started thinking about it, and I don't think they're overseas. They're probably a call center in the United States full of H-1B visa people, and we're gonna talk about that issue later on. But their customer service and their service repair is not the greatest. In fact, neighbor Chris bought a large that came out of the box broken, and after 3 weeks of dealing with them, he was like, "Screw it, send me a sticker. I'm sending this thing back to you. I do not want it. Refund my money." And if we weren't so heavily into the freeze drying community, I would have been tempted to do the same thing. I was not happy with the way everything worked out. I mean, they sent the extra large back, packed upside down, and it busted. It popped all the rivets, and I had to send it back. I'm still waiting for the extra large to come back. And then, I'm still waiting. It was going into Christmas. They canceled the ticket on the large because they said I wasn't communicating with them. Which I don't understand because I did communicate with them. But and then Christmas rolled around, so I'm waiting. I'm probably going to have to reopen another ticket on that one because they're going to close it. I was not. I haven't been happy. I have not been happy. We have not run the freeze dryers, any of the freeze dryers, since the last middle of November. I think I'm sorry, first week of December is the last time we ran one. I don't know if we go forward, I may, and if the freeze drying business takes off and we buy more freeze dryers, I may check out this new company everybody's talking about. I've talked to two or three people that have these, and I can't even remember the name of the company off the top of my head. I may look into those and see how they are, but and it kind of bothers me because I like the Harvest Rights. They're when they work, they're great. The problem is you run into problems. Yeah, Skeins, there are other brands. Well, as far as I know, there's only one other consumer grade freeze dryer. Blue Alpine. There you go. That's what it's called. So we're just trying to get through it. We'll get it back up and running. And even, I honestly I don't know where the freeze drying thing is going. The festival scene is changing. I don't know about Midwest Preparedness, but I know that Self-Reliance and Kentucky Sustainable are going to one event a year. And quite honestly, at Self-Reliance Festival, we make way more money cooking and the powwow that they have out at the reservation. We make way more money cooking than we do on the freeze dried stuff. And the website that's something that I've got to take care of this coming year. I've got to revamp it. We're trying to streamline it and make it more user friendly. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Yeah, the freeze dryers are over the long term the best solution for long term food storage. That the outlay of money on the front end is extremely expensive, but if you've got a large family, it's well worth it. Well worth the investment. Anything else? Anything else about the homestead? Anything going on? The truck, probably we'll have a new truck within a week or two. They offered us something, like I said. I'm trying to negotiate it to be a little bit higher. We'll see how that goes. I've been looking. If we travel a little bit, we can find some trucks, some really good deals on trucks for what they're giving us. So there's that. Lynn says, you might have too many projects. I'm getting tired just hearing the list. Oh, Lynn, that's not even, where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's not in here. I've got a spiral notebook that the first 3 pages, front and back, are projects that need to be done around here. I just wrote them out and put a checkbox next to them, and I wrote them out. And as I'm doing projects, I flip over and I use that blank page as a project manager type of thing. I write down, I put down all the materials I need, everything that needs to be done, and I just checkbox stuff as I do it. Problem is, I don't know if I told you last time, the little door that went over the access to the crawl space was falling apart. It was terrible. I rebuilt it 2 weekends ago. Yeah, the weekend before Christmas. I rebuilt it, and I way over engineered it. It took me like 4 hours to build a 36 by 18-inch door, but it's going to last. And that's the type of stuff. I've got a page for the fixing the floor. We got to fix the floor and back in order to level it so we can work on the second bedroom. Just a whole bunch of stuff, you just get done what you get done, And yes, I part of me wishes I was independently wealthy and I didn't have to have a job. I could self-insure so that I could spend all my time working around here. Let's see here. Well, Susie made a list and put it on the fridge just so I will see it and think. You know what I suggest everybody do? In all seriousness, go get yourself a small whiteboard. One that's like 18 by 3 or something like that. Just not a great big huge one. One that you could put on the back of the door, and then make your list and put a little checkbox by it. And if there's sub projects underneath that, write those out underneath that, and use that to manage your projects. And what a buddy of mine taught me this, and what he did was he had his wife, anytime his wife wanted to bump a project to the top, she had to rewrite the entire list. And so she would move stuff around all the time, but it allowed him to know what was priority and what needed to be done to keep the household running in a trim manner. Okay, Starla, I have not forgotten about it. In fact, I'm trying to get there. We're gonna mix in predictions with some stuff that's gone on here recently. Okay, Starla's got a prediction. Number 1 is the Republicans missed the vote up on Speaker of the House and cannot certify the election on Trump on the 6th. They don't have, as far as I understand, legally, they don't have the option of not certifying him. We'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. As far as the Republicans go, I have full faith and trust in the fact that as a party, they will screw things up. They had the majority the first time Trump was around, and they didn't do squat. In fact, there are people in the Republican caucus that will actively work against Trump's agenda. And here's the deal. Let's talk about that for a second. You realize the Democrats won the election. Seriously, go out and find a picture of President Trump with all his cabinet members and all that, and tell me, with the exception of J.D. Vance, tell me who in his closest circle at the highest level is not a Democrat. Elon Musk, Democrat. Kennedy, Democrat. Gabbard, Democrat. He's got some other ones at some other cabinet positions. The Republican Party is not the Republican Party of the conservative and patriot. Let's just be honest with this. Let's be completely frank about that. The Republican Party of Donald J. Trump is not the party of the conservative or patriot. So if you fall into that category, you're going to be extremely disappointed. Now, with that said, one thing about Donald Trump is he looks at America, running America, like a business, and he is going to do the best thing possible for America. And when he does things that are for America, that makes things better for all the people underneath it. You know, the middle class. That's one thing that the Democrats are no longer the party of the middle class. All right, in fact, they're antithetical to the things that make the middle class prosper. Um, Now, politics is all about compromise, and as long as the Trump administration does not go too far off the rails and works with conservatives and patriots, I think things are going to go great. In fact, I mean, barring a nuclear war or anything like that, in 4 years, we're going to be better off than we are today. That's my prediction. That is my prediction right there. Corn pop, because they're all one big uniparty, and DJT. You know, I'm not sure I agree with the fact that he's a paid actor. I think he's a disruptor. I think he came into the mix. It's obvious on the first round that they didn't think he was serious, and I personally I think Trump was kind of surprised when he won the first time around. And now he's more seasoned, so we'll see. But like I said, if you're a patriot or a conservative, don't put too much faith in it, because you're just going to end up being upset. Seriously, I mean, and he did things the first time around to prove that he's not a staunch advocate or a staunch advocate of the Second Amendment. You know, the bump stock ban was political compromise. All right, and in my book, that was wrong. You know, I make fun of people that have bump stocks because they're stupid gadgety things, and you deserve, if you've got a bump stock, you deserve to be mocked if you take it out in public. But with that said, you've got the right to own one. You know, and it's not a machine gun. It doesn't turn into a machine gun. There was absolutely no justification behind it, but he did it. He did it for political reasons, and he's going to do other things for political reasons. All right. Starla, anyone thought about putting a restaurant walk-in freezer underground? Here's a problem. Here's a problem with that, Starla. To put it underground, you have to build a concrete. You have to build a concrete building underground in order to do that, because the walls of a walk-in freezer are not built to carry the load. The side you put things underground, you get a huge side load and you get a huge top load. That's why unless you brace it like crazy, you should not bury shipping containers, because the walls on those things are not built to take the side load of the dirt pressing in on them. All right. All right, guys. Listen, I want to apologize. You guys are the chat is just rocking tonight. I'm talking so much and I'm missing a lot of good stuff. Let's see here. There'll be at least one turncoat. Too many egos. Someone will get. Oh yeah, 2 egos. There you go. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. In the modern era, politicians are not the best and the brightest. I mean, let's face it. I'm from Missouri. I love Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley has been a stalwart of the movement, and he's done a great job. There's a reason why he's in politics and not in private practice, or the private sector making a bunch of money. You know, if he leaves, then yeah, you know, he's getting out because he understands that he's better off being someplace else. But these people are not. They're not there for our best interest. They're there for their own interests, and yeah, I don't have a very high opinion of politicians at any level. High level politicians turn into bad versions of reality TV. Absolutely. You know the thing that shocks me about them, and I started learning this when I was stationed in Washington D.C. because when you live around D.C. and you work inside the Beltway, you get a completely different view of politics than you do watching it on the evening news. It's really weird. They're not the brightest people as a group. In fact, there are a lot of just stupid people in politics. You can be extremely stupid, but be charismatic and become a politician. Um, and it's not necessarily about the politician themselves. Let's talk about Biden for a second. You know, the media and the pundits and even people in his inner circle have been forced in the last 15, 30 days to come out and admit that they knew that he was declining. They knew that his competency was not there. Yet up until they replaced him with Kamala Harris on the ticket, the media and the pundits were telling us the best Joe Biden ever. This guy was the best. He was the sharpest tack in the box. Biden's not running anything. Everybody's all upset about these commutations of the death penalty. These 37 out of 40 federal death penalties were commuted, and all the 1,500 pardons that he gave out. Let's be completely honest. Biden is not doing that. Biden is not pardoning anybody. He's signing his name on something, and even then, until I see video of him actually signing his name, I'm not even gonna agree to the fact that he's signing his name. There's somebody in his inner circle that is doing that. All right. I need to make some bumper stickers. Don't tell my mom I'm a politician. She thinks I'm a piano player in a brothel. There you go. Randy, take it easy, man. So, and and he's not the cause of those problems, but he's a symptom. And what we need to do as private citizens, is we need to attack the things that cause these systems. We need to attack the root cause of all these problems. I think they're completely disconnected with what really happens in this country. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They live in a very insulated world, and it's not okay. How do I explain this? So, and this is my opinion, and you can disagree with me. You can dog me out for it if you want. The further removed you are from rural America, the more insulated you become from the realities of life. And what I mean is, people in the suburbs, the middle class that lives in the suburbs, have a distorted view of the way things are because they're not out there growing food and doing the hard things that make the country run. The working class people, the bricklayers, the welders, the longshoremen, all these guys. These are the guys that make the country run. And the person in the suburb, most of them, not okay. And I'm painting with a very wide brush. So please, I lived in the suburbs, and I was one of these people for a little while, and then I became not one of these people, which is why I moved out of the suburbs. Anyway, they've got a very insulated lifestyle. They're able to go down to Walmart and get what they need. Right now, you go to the inner city, they live a completely different life than the person in the suburb. Then you've got the politician, the people that live inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C., have such a distorted view of what life is like in regular America. People on the East Coast, the people in the great big blue dots, they have no idea what real America is like. In fact, there was whenever Trump won, that was one of the things that I remember whenever Trump won. There was a whole slew of articles by people from the New York Times and the Atlantic and stuff, where they drove out of New York City and went into rural Pennsylvania and upstate New York, and they started talking to people that actually voted for Donald Trump. And to a person, the thing that shocked them was how intelligent and likable these people that they thought were rubes were, right? And that's just that's a result of the environment that these people live in. All right. Now, with that said, as conservatives and patriots, we have a responsibility not to be the same way. Because I know a lot of people, that say a lot of bad stuff about people that live in the city, and I talk bad about the city too, but there are a lot of good, hardworking people in California, in New York, in the cities, you know. So it's just we need to be careful that we don't paint with a great big brush. Okay, guys. Hey, Ox, how you doing? Yeah, Gregory, there you go. We need more dirty jobs type of people. If you guys, oh man, who was he on? Mike Rowe was on. He was on Ben Shapiro's show last week, and then he was on a big podcast. It wasn't Rogan; it was somebody else. And we listened to it a couple weeks ago. I love listening to Mike Rowe talk. He is such an interesting person. And Dirty Jobs guy is worked as an opera singer, believe it or not. You know, that's just, and he worked on QVC. He started his career as a QVC hawker, you know. Brian, the cities are evil. There are always problems in the cities in the Bible. Yeah, kind of. It's not necessarily the city. It's the people in the city. It's the proximity. You know. HG says Mike Rowe should be the Secretary of Labor. That would be awesome. That would be completely fantastic. You know, so let's make sure that we're not out there being exactly like the liberals. Okay, that's all. That's the whole point about talking about the cities and the suburbs and everything. All right, here we go. I'm going to share some stuff with you. I found some stuff recently that I want to share. Let's talk about the H-1B visa thing. I don't know if you guys caught it. Elon Musk was very upset because people were bad-mouthing the H-1B visa program and talking about getting rid of it. Let me start by saying we should not get rid of the H-1B visa program. It is, when it runs like it's supposed to run, it's a good problem. Or I'm sorry, it's a good program. The problem is it's not being run like it should be run. All right. The people they're bringing in on H-1B visas over the last 20, 30 years have not been the cream of the crop. When I started in IT, I got out of the Marine Corps in 1995. For the most part, the H-1B visa guys were extremely good. All right. Most of them were Indian, Southeast Asian types, but they were extremely good at what they did. And I've been in the private sector IT for 30 some years. No, 20 some years. It's got progressively worse and worse and worse. And now the lotto system on the H-1B visa does not bring in the best and the brightest. And I think the reporting on the row between Musk and Ramaswamy and Trump and the H-1B visa thing, I'm positive that a lot of that, the conflict there, is the way the news is reporting it. It does need to be looked at. It does need to be reformed, but I would not say let's get rid of it. All right. So there's that. And the reason why I say that is because we've got Democrats telling us exactly how great the H-1B visa program is, and it does not need to be fixed. It does not need to be looked at. This is man. Okay, I learned something this week. I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to do a video about this later on. So you're getting a preview. It's called the easy hard factor. All right, either something's easy or it's hard. The things that are easy are the things that they want you to do. The things that are hard are the things that they don't want you to do. As a matter of point. And you guys go out and go to Peak Prosperity, Dr. Chris Martenson. He did a video yesterday, day before, and he talks about this. As an example, Time Magazine recently did a cover story about the childless life and how great it was not to have children. In the modern era, they have never done a cover story about the joys of having kids. So if you're a millennial, not having kids and being able to do what you want and living the childless life is easy. Having kids and having to get a job and paying for it is hard. They don't want that. Illegal immigration. We should just open our arms and we should just accept everybody that comes into the country, because they just, I mean, the Statue of Liberty, and they just want to live a good life. That's easy. That's what they want. They want the cheap labor. And that's the only reason why they want all these people coming to the country, is because they want cheap labor. What's hard is standing by principles and telling people you cannot come into our country unless you do it legally. And then if you come into our country, there has to be standards, and you have to follow them. You have to become an American. That's one of the things. That's one of the things I remember growing up. Kansas City is a great city because there's a huge diverse mix of people in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s. And you saw Italian flags, you saw Irish flags, you saw Mexican flags, you saw these flags, but they were flying underneath the American flag. And if you go into Kansas City now, yeah, you see the Mexican flag, there's no American flag in sight. These people, they don't want to become Americans. They want to run away from whatever third world Sierra Hotel they're coming from, and they want to come here and they want to change America into the same type of country they just fled from. Let's be honest with you. That's the illegal ones. Legal immigrants, I've yet to meet a legal immigrant that was not only did they want to, they were excited to become Americans, right? It was exciting to them, and they relished the fact that they were able to become Americans. So that they're not the same people, period. Let's see. Let's see what Emerson is trying to create problems. Yeah. Thank God they are not the media anymore. We are the media now. Biden is a puppet. Remember him sitting at the desk asking what he was signing and why. Yep. Rabbit, are you leaving us? You take care, brother. All right. You gotta have a happy new year, man. Let's see. What else can we talk? Oh, Jimmy Carter. Since we're talking about the media. I'm old enough. I think most of you guys are old enough to remember what it was like living under Jimmy Carter and exactly what kind of president he was. The media is trying to rewrite his legacy. One of the things about working in Washington, D.C. and being in the Marine Corps is I got to meet guys that actually worked at the White House and dealt with these people at Camp David. One of the things that I heard from the old timers that worked at Camp David with Jimmy Carter was that he was not the nice guy they made him out to be. Now, I will say this, and I honestly believe this. Jimmy Carter as a person, I think the decisions he made as president, I think he was honestly doing it for the betterment of America. Now, the decisions he made were crap. Until Biden rolled along, he was by far the worst president in the modern era. And the only reason why I say modern era is because I don't know enough about past presidents, like back in the 1800s and all that. I don't know enough to say that he beats them out. But in the modern era, he was a crappy president. But they're rewriting his legacy, making it sound like he was a great president. The one thing I will give him props on is the peace accords with Egypt and Israel. Ended up getting Anwar Sadat killed, but that's another story. But for the most part, his presidency sucked. I remember my parents had to get a home loan at 22% in 1981. No, I'm sorry. It was 1979. They got a home loan in 1979 at 22%. Unreal. Completely unreal. We complain now when it gets up to 7.5%. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of stories coming out. I heard some things from some people that I was stationed with before I went to DC. I knew a guy, one of my staff NCOs at another duty station, was at 8th and I, and during the Carter administration, and he did not have good things to say about him. I don't think he was as squeaky clean as what they make him out to be. But of course, who is? You know, let's be honest. We're not. None of us are as squeaky clean as what we make it out to be. Like I said, I will give him props that I think every decision he made, right or wrong, was made because he thought it was the best thing for America. You know, one thing to remember: he didn't get the hostages released. It wasn't until Reagan was elected president that the hostages got released. All right. In fact, they took him hostage because of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, they created the misery index to measure what was going on. Stagflation is another term created. Yep. Looks like food. Oh, that's right. It does. Oh, son of hacks. I'm glad you said that, man. I mean, it's not a big thing. It's not big. It's not going to make anybody rich, but it's going to be better than it was before. He put the grain embargo on Russia for invading Afghanistan and crashed the corn market. Yeah, inadvertently, you know. And okay, now that happened back in the 70s, and we need to be ready. We need to be ready for the Starla. You're asking about predictions. You know, if Trump follows through on his tariffs and everything, things are going to get harder here, at least in the short term. Get ready for it. Do not be disappointed when it happens, because it's one of those things. If you want to fight these battles, there are sacrifices to be made. There you go. Brian's going to travel from Oklahoma to buy stuff in Arkansas City. Northern Girl Hobbies. Our carbon tax is up again tomorrow. Missed that boat with being sick. Oh, the carbon tax. Don't get me started. Canada's looking up. They're going to get rid of son of Castro and get Pierre. Oh my gosh, what's his last name? I like the dude. I like the video where he's sitting there peeling an orange, and he's talking to some left-wing guy, a left-wing reporter. He's like, "No, really? Do you honestly? Is that what you honestly think?" And he's just, as a matter of fact, just smacking this guy around like it was cool. Hopefully he gets it. Yeah, Trudeau can't go fast. Well, honestly, Northern Girl Hobbies. Let's be completely honest. How much did you all expect from a failed kindergarten teacher that was diddling little kids? I mean, let's face it. You know, he not the best. Not the best. He's a World Economic Forum graduate, and that's the only reason why he got it. Yeah, M knows what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see what else did I find out recently. I got some stuff, man. It's gonna drive you guys nuts. You guys are gonna be so upset when I'm done here. It's gonna be awesome. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Some documents got released. This is from the peoplesvoice.tv. So take this with a grain of salt. I don't know how accurate it is. Documents were released from 2018, prior to COVID, where Dr. Fauci had a plan to covertly spray self-spreading vaccines on large population centers using military-grade drones. It was the program was codenamed Diffuse, and he proposed it to DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. So prior to COVID, not only is he wargaming out a pandemic, he is proposing that they do self-spreading vaccines and spraying large population centers. Now, if you've worked any time in the medical industry, there's a thing called informed consent. If you're covertly spraying vaccines and other biological agents on the populace, that kind of short circuits informed consent. And the reason why I bring this up is because it just goes to reinforce the pattern that everybody saw of him not caring about people, and his comment about "I am the science." That dude should be in jail. Seriously, he should be in jail. Even if what the People's Voice TV says is untrue, he should still be in jail for what he did to the American public. Let's see here. What else? I'm flipping through my notes right now. Okay. There was another one. Oh, did you guys see the news that a peer-reviewed study said that the new strain of bird flu most likely came from a USDA lab in Georgia? Did you guys hear that one? If it's not the Chinese doing it, it's our own people. Now, I don't. That may get me in trouble with YouTube, because YouTube flat out said they will ban you if you say anything that contradicts the World Health Organization. Let's see. The cities are more densely populated in those areas where they will concentrate. Yep. Beware of foods labeled containing bioengineered ingredients. Absolutely. All crimes against humanity. Yep, I agree. Let's see. You know what? There is winning going on, and I am old enough to remember all the presidential elections since 1988. One thing I do not remember is when the new president was elected and they were changing presidents. I don't remember all these changes happening in the government prior to the president being inaugurated. ICE, it was reported that ICE has shut down programs offering services to illegal immigrants because they were too costly. Yeah, there's people in the government that see the writing on the wall and are scrambling to make sure that they're on the right side of things whenever it all falls out. They finally identified the young lady that was, well, I don't know how young she was, but the lady that was burned alive by the illegal immigrant on the subway in New York. I find it very funny. The day that happened, Governor Hochul from New York was in New York City on the subway giving a press conference about how her administration had made the subway so safe. And as I was reading this article, the article is from the Gateway Pundit. I found another article that just yesterday somebody was standing on a platform in the subway and got pushed onto the track. They're so safe. So safe. It's someplace that we should be. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Here's some. I got a question for you. Oh yeah, they're going to push it. They're going to push lockdowns. I did a video on this on one of my walks. The question is, are people going to say no? They can't lock you down if you don't agree to it, right? It's just one of those things. If people say no, there's nothing they can do about it. Okay, here's a question for you. I want you guys to answer this in chat, in the chat. What if school teachers were secretly baptizing children behind their parents' back? How do you think the left would react to this? Yeah, Zach, unfortunately you live in Colorado's like a paradox, honestly. You get outside the big population centers, and those people are the most liberty-minded people in the world. They're out there living in teepees because they don't want to be constrained. But then you get into the cities, and they're sheeple, like you said. Hog says they'll explode. Yeah, they would blow up. Yeah, it was a question. I saw that question posed today, and I was like, yeah, that's a great question. Let's see. New York City Mayor urged everyone to take the subway tonight for the ball drop. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes you don't have a choice. Seriously, if it's the only mode of getting around, then sometimes you got to do it. Here's one of the things everything that's going on. And we talk about the teachers secretly transitioning kids, and the policies the policies that the government's putting forward that make absolutely zero sense. We talk about all this stuff. Ayn Rand had a quote, and it goes along the lines is we can ignore reality, but we can't ignore the consequences of reality. And that's the FAFO thing. We're as a country, we've effed around, and now we're getting ready to find out. M says apparently it's World War III in my neighborhood at the moment. Big booms. We had a couple of people shooting off fireworks earlier today. Kind of different. Here's another thing. I love this one. I've seen several articles on this, and it makes me laugh. So after all the hang on, let's see what she says. Whether I disagree with the act, teachers and schools should not do anything secretly from parents. Ultimately, it's the parents' fault, though. Get the kids out. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Ultimately, the parents are responsible. That's one of the things. I did a lot of stuff wrong as a parent. It's one of the things I think that Angela and I got right with our kids is we were extremely involved, and we made sure that kind of shenanigans didn't happen. But getting back to what I was saying, there's been a lot of articles coming out about how Trump is a would-be dictator, and the government is extremely too powerful now. And there's having one man with that much power it's dangerous. Democracy and all that stuff. My gosh, how their tune has changed. All through COVID, all through the Biden administration, the government did not have enough power. The government should have been able to take people's kids away from them, and put people that did not want the shot, people like you and I, that did not want the shot, in the concentration camps or re-education camps. The government did not have enough power, and they needed to do everything they could to ensure that the government had the power it needed. And now, with like a light switch being flipped, the government has way too much power. Donald Trump is too dangerous, and we need to do something about it. I find it extremely funny that this is where we are as a country, that the Dems can completely ignore the stuff that they said over the last 4 years, and the 8 years of Obama too. They did the same thing during Obama. I find it extremely funny. Okay, final thing that I ran across, and I wanted to share this with you. The desperation is starting to sit in on certain segments of the left. All right, there was an article recently, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the source, but these lawyer types put forth the idea that the politicians had to act now in order to make sure that Donald Trump was not inaugurated as president. And the way they would do it was, there's a 1860 law written right after the Civil War, where somebody that partook in insurrection could not hold office. Okay. Now, and their logic behind it was, there was a court in Colorado back in 2020, 2021, sometime around there. It was after Jase. There was a lower court that has absolutely no bearing on the country as a whole. They said that Donald Trump had engaged in insurrection. Now, they were shot down by the Colorado Supreme Court, and it went nowhere. It went absolutely nowhere. But they're using this as the basis to say that Trump cannot legally be inaugurated. This is pure 100% desperation. And the reason why this is important, at least in my mind, is that whenever animals become desperate, they start doing dangerous things. The question is, how long until the riots start? You know, we saw riots on January 20th, 2016, whenever Trump took office the first time. When are the riots going to start? And the era of woke is dying, and it's dying quickly. Can't die quick enough, in my opinion, but it is dying. Companies, Tractor Supply did completely away with the DEI stuff that got him in trouble. Budweiser got Shane Gillis, of all people, to be the spokesperson when just 2 or 3 years earlier they had a transvestite crossdresser. You know, so the era of woke is going away, and hopefully it dies a complete death. But they're not going to go quietly into the night. And as freedom and liberty-minded people, we need to be aware of this, and we need to understand that by nature of what we believe, we are their enemy. But you may not look at these people as your enemy, and you know, you may have a big heart and say, you know, we're all Americans. It takes two to agree to that, and it's completely obvious that there is a hardcore sector of the left that views everybody that does not think exactly like they do as the enemy, and they're going to treat us as such. John Glove wrote the empires and the search for the decline and fall of empires and the search for security. He wrote that in 1972, and you know, the shelf life of a empire is about 250 years. Well, we're getting close to that number, and we're going to see a lot of things start happening, and it's going to happen on Trump's watch. Or it's going to start on Trump's watch. Probably will not come to complete head on his watch, but it's heading that way. Dems are doing everything they can to make sure that he does not have a good presidency. We need to be aware of that, and we need to insulate ourselves from things like that. And as always, how do we insulate ourselves from these things? Number one, community. You guys need to be out there. You need to be building community. The online communities are great, but the simple fact is, if you are in our online community and you live 10 hours away from us, we can't get there to help you. You need people local. So you need to start building community, get involved. You know, it's awesome. One of the good things about starting to go to church is I'm meeting new people and I'm making new connections. You know, I disagree with that. I disagree with that one, Lynn, because if you look at the way John Glove described it, from the founding of the country, there's steps that you reach before you reach the height of the empire. But we can disagree, though. That's a cool thing. You know, the next thing you do to insulate yourself is become food independent. You know, secure your food sources. Either raise your own food or connect with people in the community that raise food that you can barter and trade with. All right. Don't rely on the just-in-time delivery system of the big supermarkets for your food. Third thing, become modern self-sufficient. And that, as I always say, you need to be able to fix as many problems as you can with the skills, materials, and tools that you have on hand. You need to be able to do all this stuff. This is how we insulate ourselves from all the bad things that may happen, right? Can't do it on your own. Got to have community. Got to have your own source of food. You got to be able to do it yourself. All right. Well, listen, we've been at this for an hour and 35 minutes. Not bad for myself, if you ask me. I really enjoyed it tonight. You guys have been great in the comments. I'm sorry I missed a lot of stuff. Here, let me see. I don't need to defend against another person's beliefs or thoughts, but against their actions, though their published thoughts telegraph potential actions. Absolutely. Absolutely. I am a firm believer. I am a firm believer that when somebody tells you they're going to do something to you, treat them like they're being truthful about it. All right. They may just be blowing off steam, but what if they're not? All right. If somebody says something, you treat it exactly like they're going to do it to you. Appropriate technology, if you can use it, fix it. No matter how elegant or technologically advanced, it's not appropriate. Yep. All right, guys. You guys got anything that you want to talk about? I mean, it's New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve. We're sitting here. I'm up later than I normally am. I'm usually unwinding in bed right now and asleep by 9. 2024 was not the best. 2025, I've got a plan. I don't have resolutions. I've got a plan, and I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna share the idea of the plan with you guys in the next couple of days, and see if you agree with me, and see if it's something you guys want to do. HG wants a warranty on 2025. You know what? I don't think anybody would honor it. Hogs, oh, where is it? Ah, you guys are moving too fast. Have a great New Year. Here's the 2025. Happy New Year. Everyone keep doing the things, whatever you need to do. Absolutely. Em thought something was funny. She may have been hitting the champagne already. We don't know. Praying for Yoda to have healings and others in need. Happy New Year's, everyone. Listen, we appreciate you guys. We do love you in our own weird sort of way. Yeah, I'm going to be asleep way before midnight, Skeins. It's getting old. Being the same age as old people is kind of weird. But listen, you guys make it worthwhile. And I hope that we provide something for you. If going into 2025, I'm going to try to get back on a schedule of getting videos out. It's going to be a lot more lives like this and a lot less long form stuff, because it just takes entirely too long to do stuff like that. Hey, Yankee. People sure make a big deal about buying a new calendar. Absolutely. Anyway, I hope you guys have a safe New Year's, and I've got a short coming out tomorrow that you guys can see, and it's going to kind of set the stage for some stuff coming down the road. I hope you enjoy it. Most importantly, what I need you guys to do is I need you to go out, and at the end of the day tomorrow, you need to have done something that's going to make your life be in a better position than it was when you woke up. And I need you to go pursue a lifetime free. All right, guys, take care.
Do you ever think about living in a world where we don't have access to modern medicine anymore?
Infections just aren't going to heal themselves. They're just not going to magically get fixed.
These medications will become life-saving for you and the people you care about. And it's all done online through the Jase Medical portal.
This kit right here, it's called the Jase case.
Jase Medical, they can supply you with emergency antibiotics.
If somebody gets really sick, that might be the only thing that can save their life.
And it's full of the top 5 antibiotics that we would need in an emergency situation.
It's an actual doctor that's prescribing you to this. It can be tailored for you specifically.
Getting our Jase case was super simple. We just went on their website, filled out a short form. It was reviewed by a board-certified physician, and then he wrote the prescription and mailed this to us from a real pharmacy.
This is a great addition to your medical kit.
And it's